Richard, Steven, Sinatra, all you guys. Kareem, how are you? Everyone
Good
doing
early
okay?
morning, Dale.
Kman, how are you, bro?
Good. Yourself?
Okay, doing all right. Breathing in and out. Some lady once told me, I was sitting in the car waiting outside a doctor's office, and she said to me, any day that I'm staring down at the grass is a good day. Huh? Yeah. Ever hear that one? I thought it was pretty good.
Very good.
Anyway, impressions, just a couple things. You know, the euro, you know, they keep trying to sell it off and it keeps coming back to the speed line. You know, it tagged it again here and it's trying to bounce. You know, not acting terrible, okay, compared to, you know, the pound. And the only thing new, I'm trying to short up here in USD CAD. You know, I still think crude's headed higher. And, you know, of course, like any trade, I could be wrong. And, you know, Canada could be on its way to take out this 132 level. But, you know, everything's probe and protect. And we'll see what happens here.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? Yen just moving sideways, like you said, kind of sanguine about it.
Yeah, we have to always be mindful that we are in end of month territory, right? So there's a lot of rebalancing to be done. Moves can come a little bit out of nowhere. So there's been a few things moving. I have the impression that you showed the silver there that it may even have to do with some month-end rebalancing needing
The silver? I didn't
needing
even bring it up. I
dollars.
don't want to think about it.
It went below 18 bucks this morning,
Yeah,
right?
here it is. Yeah, new lows. Took out this 1820.
Yeah, but do we need to read everything into it? I'm not sure. I think the next 48 hours should show us some direction for the dollar, perhaps, because we have this new the new method ADP coming out in 15 minutes, and then NFP on Friday. And I really want to see what's happening on those and on the close of the month, the reopening of the new month, because I think we might find some directions from what's going to happen in the next 48 hours or so.
Okay, so good time to do nothing.
Well, good time to prepare what we have to do, right?
Yeah, you don't have to, you know, I guess that's the wrong term, doing nothing. You know, we get paid to watch too. Exactly. You know, watching is part of it. It's not doing nothing. Yeah.
You know, trading.
So, go ahead.
Trading is like going to the restaurants. It's not because you are looking at the whole menu that you have to eat everything, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That is. See, you and I.
I have to tell you, that's the best one I've heard yet, Kman. Yeah, that's a good one.
Good
morning, Dale.
Good morning, Blake. I know Blake looks at the whole menu.
I got a seafood diet, man.
I eat the whole menu.
Yeah, I know. Every time I talk to you, you're eating, Steve, while you're talking, which is not very polite.
I'm not a very polite person. Probably that's why.
Yeah, that's why we love you.
I've never met anybody that has ever done more public speaking with a full mouth than Steve Vulgaris.
You know what, but Steve, Blake told me he's putting a lock on the refrigerator when you come to visit.
then it's very simple. I'm not going to visit.
Anyway, guys, you know, I'm in a kind of I don't know mode here, so just jump in and
yeah, I think
go ahead. Go ahead.
For those having longer term positions and views, not a lot has changed so far. For those having the shorter term views and shorter term positions, I think the next, as I said, 24, 48 hours perhaps, or could be some directional moves coming out of it. That's my view. I have to give a special mention to the Norwegian kroner today. as you can see, the Norwegian kroner got an absolute slap around the ears today, and that's mainly driven by the Norges Bank setting out their stall for September, saying that they will be selling 3.5 billion Norwegian kroner every day because they were behind on their schedule versus tax receipts from the Norwegian exporters. So they came in bigger and likely a bit earlier than what the market was expecting. The market, I think, was expecting a bigger jump for the October, but they've decided to go for it now. So the Norwegian kroner weakened like literally 1% right after they came out with the Norwegian kroner sales for September.
Isn't it amazing? They sell every time their currency strengthens, they sell it, they buy euros and dollars, and they buy stocks for their $1 trillion sovereign wealth fund. Not bad.
Yeah, and you know what? But when you compare it to other dollar pairs like the yen pressing new highs and Canada at 78.6 and Aussie pressing recent lows, it's almost a weakness of the group. Otherwise, it'd be at 10.20, 10.40 right now.
Yeah, but
right?
you have to look in, as I said, against it, unless the oil and gas starts to weaken. They get a lot of tax receipts from the Norwegian exporters, right?
Yeah,
but I do think that September and going into Q4 is going to be interesting for the Norwegian kroner, based on oil and based on what the Norges Bank and the oil fund may be up to.
Okay. One other thing I just noticed, you know, compared to what you know, I do a lot of comparison, relative strength stuff, and you know, with what gold's doing, you know, pressing the lows, and silver making new lows. Copper, you know, right now, if you were bullish in copper, you would say maybe this is a correction to buy, and you know, this is more about, you know, the economy than, you know, gold is more of a monetary metal, silver partially, but you know, copper may not make a new low with all these things going on. And you know, there were a lot of guys talking about 39.50 to 39.20 in the S&Ps, and one of our attendees is congratulating the team for a good pattern in play. Someone must have gotten long NASDAQ for a pop here on a pip. Is that happening?
There's a long S&P.
Okay, well then that's it. I thought.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. There's a short S&P.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I knew there was. I knew we had an S&P on.
Okay.
No, I don't know about
no
the
long
NASDAQ.
NAS. Okay. All right. Anyway,
Well,
here's a gold silver ratio making new highs, and it's at the, you know, it looks strong here. It's at the 50% retrace from this big drop.
We
And
talked about silver yesterday, how close the recent lows were, 18.12 something. So this has been a stop hunt so far. I mean, the dollar is not doing it.
We lost Stelios.
Really just a smash. Huh?
We
We
lost you
for a
Can
second.
you hear me now?
for a couple of
Okay.
seconds.
Okay,
Yes.
sorry. So basically, you're seeing everything else kind of not doing anything, and silver getting smashed. So it seems to be a stop run, maybe some week longs capitulating. I think we probably have
So
a little bit more to
unusual.
go. Very unusual, yes. And like Dale said, the most difficult thing to do is to sit on your hands. One of the most difficult things to do. And I really, really want to get extra mega long. And I've said it from when silver was what, 23? When was it? 24? You have to wait. You have to time your entries as best as you can with every trade, not just for this one.
I think you need a top in the end for a bottom in the metals.
I think a bottom in the metals, maybe, yes, maybe that. Also, I think maybe we need a break below 16.18 gold to really flush. I think that's what we need, because you can bet there are a zillion stops down there. So maybe we need that. Everybody gets out, and then the coast is clear. Yeah,
if you want to rationalize the long position, here we are at 78.6 here too. So okay. Any take? Is Ryan around?
I think he's in London.
Yeah,
okay.
Ryan's gone out with his family, and going.
That's so funny, Blake.
Okay. Okay.
Why?
Oh, he's in London, yeah. As in, he's not with Dale.
Oh, okay. So,
What?
I'm just
No, I
kidding.
think
Don't
he's
worry.
visiting.
I didn't
Actually,
get it
isn't he
either.
visiting?
Don't worry,
London
don't
right
worry.
now?
Bad joke. Carry on.
Oh, okay.
We have
All right.
ADP in
Alright.
4 minutes.
Did you say bad joke or dad joke?
Yeah, both.
That's a
That's
that was a
my-
bad dad
that's-
joke. All right. Well,
that's
I'll
my
I'll take
special.
over from here because we do have ADP coming up.
Okay.
And you know,
And-
what do you,
and
any
I
thoughts
think
here?
we have- Go ahead. I
was just going to
wanted-
say, so many
Go ahead.
people are expecting that the jobs data is going to really start showing weakness already. I still think the U.S. economy is chugging along fine as far as employment goes, but you know, I think we are going to start to see weakness. I just don't know if it's quite yet. What anybody have any thoughts?
Well, regarding this ADP, I don't even know if we can pinpoint to any expectations because they're using a new methodology, and so they're expecting 288K. But where they get the number for the expectations? I haven't got a clue. So
And
Mind
we
you,
haven't
it can
gotten
come out
ADP
anywhere.
in like 3 months, right?
yeah, they stopped in May. May was the last one, and then they
Yeah.
Why?
resume now.
Why'd they
They're
stop?
recalibrating or calibrating their calculations or something. like that.
Unfortunately, during the past few decades, there's been a lot of recalibrations of several metrics. And I have to say that every time governments recalibrate the way they measure something.
But this isn't the government, Steve.
Yeah,
ADP,
yeah, I know.
This is a private. This is a private
I
sector.
know, I know it is, but it's anyhow a number that's been used, you know, for government business. It's always in a more dishonest way. Let's hope that in this case, it's just
it's private sector, buddy.
yeah, okay. And the central bank is completely independent, also.
Yeah,
Right?
but I mean, no, but the ADP is a private company.
And central banks are independent, as I said before. I'm not saying that, that's what they say, right? So, yeah, let's see. We'll find out, I guess.
Well, I mean, the number is the number.
And the
It's
media
not-
is not biased either.
Yes, that is correct as well. The
Which
media
are private
are
companies.
objective and independent.
Anyway, we're being a bit what's the word?
Jaded.
No,
Cynical?
cynical. That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Well, so let's real quick. I just want to map out that the euro is like mid-range, you know, and I don't think that has anything to do with ADP. I just think that has everything to do with you know, the last week of summer, and markets I think is a little conflicted right now, being really too bullish the dollar because you know, you've got really sentiment is so negative right now for the euro and for the sterling, and you know, everybody's just bullish the dollar right now, which they have every reason to be. But I want to ask you guys, is because you know, I just recently got up like Dale and I, you know, it's very early in the morning here where we live. European natural gas prices, are they coming down this morning? Kman, have you noticed?
No, I haven't seen much this morning in particular. I was a bit focusing on other stuff.
Okay, let me just take a look really quick. Natural gas. Let me see if we have. I think we can pull up like some European natural gas.
There's some TTF things, but it's not really real time.
There's this Dutch natural gas that's down
that's
quite
not
substantially. Anyway, I just, you know, I wonder if we start to see prices ease, is that going to help the euro, you know, off of these lows, and the sterling as well? Just some food for thought. Okay, we have ADP coming up in how long? 10 seconds. All right, so
It's almost a
let's,
given that this change is going to make it a really big number, right? That's what I would guess.
shoot.
What is it?
A really what number?
Big
Oops.
number. But I don't know. Who knows? Oh, 132. So it's not a big number.
And I think the forecast was 288,
Yes.
right? So we are seeing some dollar weakness come through. The euro starting to push higher. And the S&P's, recovering. I mean, remember, equity markets like weak data. They do, because they feel that that's going to be one more step towards the Fed pivoting, whether you agree with that or not. That's how the market's going to view it for now. So, matter of fact, let me ask you guys this, and we can start with Steve. Steve, what do you think? Is the Fed close to pivoting or not?
I don't see why I don't trust the Fed and any other central bank, and they are biased to be dovish because they actually won't admit to it, but they feel like they're responsible for monetizing the debts and all that. But I think the message Powell sent was very clear. And I do think they're going to pivot sooner than they admit to. But nevertheless, I don't think after these type of statements, we can expect them to do so like super imminently. So I think people that are building expectations that one bad number, they're just one bad number away from saying, you remember all that we said a few days ago, just forget about them because now we saw the latest NFPs and we're afraid. I think they're going to be disappointed.
Okay. And Stelios, what do you think? Do you think that the Fed is about ready to pivot? If we get continuous weak numbers from here, like let's just say jobs data is weak and it does look like inflation is peaked. Are we getting close to a pivot, or we're there's no way?
Well, they told us, who was it, Daily? Was it today who said that one inflation print doesn't make a change in the trend or something like that?
Yeah,
Powell
do you
was
believe them?
Do I believe them? At the moment, I do. I don't.
Steve doesn't believe anything.
Yeah.
As far as as data comes out, and you don't either. So
I think they're going to pivot.
Them.
I think they're going to pivot before year end, but I don't think we're there yet. I don't think we're there for another month or two.
All right, Dale, what do you think? Are we close to this pivot?
I believe in every drop of rain that falls, a flower grows.
Okay.
That's what I believe.
I have no idea how to interpret that, but
I think that that Powell is is going to have to pause coming up here, and I think that the markets, I don't think they care as much as they used to. I mean, otherwise, I think we should be at new lows in the S&Ps already. And if we're putting in a higher low here for another rally, I think that they're going to pause. I don't think he's Volcker. I don't think he's Burns, but I don't think he's Volcker.
Oh,
so,
well,
just
that's
trade is,
That's interesting. What do you think, Kman?
I think it's too early for the people.
Yeah,
most people are saying year end, December.
Yeah. It might be starting to change a bit towards year end, and that's possible. But right now it's too early. They only start to ramp up QT in September. I don't see how they pivot right now.
Yeah, how are they going to change their rhetoric right at this point? Yeah, that makes sense. So that theoretically, if everybody here, if we all agree, the Fed's not going to be pivoting anytime soon. I mean, S&Ps and risk aversion should continue lower. So let me ask you guys this, and this is really, and I'd love to hear from Stelios, from Steve about this. Here we are with the euro trading around parity, and I just closed out my euro shorts yesterday, by the way. And if you guys want to know, this is the ForexAnalytix chat room, and let me just show you. Let me go to some of the trades that I did yesterday. I just closed out a sterling short for 86 pips and a euro short for negative 38 pips. So as you can see, I closed out my euro short, and I took it. I took a loss on it on my average, and I was short the sterling, did well in that, but it's like the euro is a very tough trade short right at these levels, and it seems like every time it dips below parity, we do find buyers. Now I know it's end of month, I get it. I know it's end of month, and you know there's probably some flows that are there, but you think about the euro over like the last month and a half that we've been down here. It's really, we've thrown a lot at it, and the market's been under pressure. We've had risk aversion, but the euro doesn't really want to gain a foothold and move lower. What's going to drive the euro down below and into a new trend low, or is this it? I mean, should we be a buyer down here? What do you guys think regarding the euro?
My view is that the main risk for the euro going higher is not that much the Fed pivoting, but it's an energy thing. I think that the Europeans know that there's no way we can get through the winter with things being as they are, and there's going to be some kind of compromise. I don't know what kind, but there's going to be some kind of compromise, some kind of positive headline from Ukraine, Russia. And I think that's going to drive the euro higher, because let's face it, one of the huge drivers of the euro being pummeled over the past months is Ukraine. I think that's the main thing. Now, what can happen for the euro to go lower? I think that the ECB going again dovish will do that, but I don't see them doing that just yet. They're talking about 75, so it's difficult for them to go from talking about 75 to maybe talking about 25 or less within the next couple of months or so. So I think that's a risk.
All right. Well, what do you think,
euro
Steve?
help them out? I mean,
Of
they
course,
pay
a
less
weak
for energy.
weak euro exacerbates the inflation problem.
Right.
Yes, it absolutely does.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, well, and that's probably been one of the US's saving graces with the dollar being as strong as it's been.
That is exactly true, Blake. If the dollar was not that strong, imagine where inflation would be, especially since we're talking about a country that imports a lot more than it exports, right? So if at some point the dollar turns lower, that is going to be a big tailwind for inflation. So people should really keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's been one of the things that's really helped the US through this inflationary period is having such a strong currency, as we do import a lot of stuff. Yeah, I know. So that's exactly what I was saying. So if what do you think? What should we be doing with the euro down here? Are you a buyer, Steve, or do you think we're going down to 90 cents?
I think there is absolutely no reason to be. First of all, there's no reason to be fundamentally bullish as long as we still have this big divergence between central bank policy. Two, technically speaking, there is no reason to be bullish as long as we're trading within this long-term descending channel. Three, even if you look at the short-term technicals, when I look at this, the only thing I see is some kind of a probably bear flag being formed again. So I think that the path of least resistance still remains lower until something really changes, and for the time being I don't see anything.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Like technically I have we have no reason to be long the euro technically. But no, I'm asking you fundamentally, like
fundamentally the same thing. I mean, why would you want to be long? Currently the ECB is mostly ignoring the huge inflation problem, right?
But we've heard rhetoric just this week from a lot of ECB members that have said that they.
But what is the action that accompanies that rhetoric? For the time being, nothing. Right. So I first want to see. It's one thing what somebody says, and a second thing what they do, and I pay more attention to what they do. And for the time being, they're not doing anything positive to help the euro. They're saying they will, but we all know the major issues that prevent the ECB from acting, right? So I first want to see them seriously taking action, and then we can talk about the alternatively. So
you know what? Yeah. Okay.
The path of least resistance remains lower. End of story, in my opinion.
Okay. All right. And what I'm actually looking for this week is I'm hoping. Matter of fact, let's just hope today we get a little bit of lift and risk, and we get the euro can push back up to 101. I am a seller right here if I can get it today. Somewhere around the 101 level. I don't know if I'm going to get it. But that's what I'm trying to sell up there. Kman, you have any levels that you're trading, anything in the FX market before we hand it back over to Dale?
Yeah, I'm going to be a seller of Norway on any rally.
Wait, you're buying US dollar Norwegian krona, or
yeah, dollar Norway is one thing. Had a stab this morning after this Norway's buying stuff, but then I'm waiting to see if there's a chance to get it a little cheaper. It might not be today for month end, but yeah. And as far as the euro is concerned, when I'm long euro for more than 10 minutes, I've got a strange allergy itching all the time, so I can't buy euros right now. Really.
Did you say you have a strange allergy? Hey, and if you guys are not ForexAnalytix subscribers, just here, this is going to give you an example of just patterns in play that we have currently going that are not just from myself, but from team members like Grega, Andre, Leandro, even Steve and Stelios put out their ideas up here as well. So these are just patterns that have developed. You can see this inverted head and shoulder pattern with the US dollar and Norwegian krona as Kman's talking about. It points back up to 1030 right now. So all right, Kman, well, thanks for that idea. Steve, Stelios, anything that you're keeping an eye on going into today?
Not really.
God, you're no fun.
I'm looking.
You are no fun.
He's no fun. Yeah, I'm looking for more continuation in what we've had so far. I know
which is
equity weakness, precious metal weakness, especially silver has really broken down, right? So I don't see any reason why we should see any change in.
So do you sell the S&Ps here, or do you sell them a little higher? And
no,
at what price?
No, I'm not. I don't think somebody should be chasing, not for any other reason, because we have NFPs, right?
We do have. Yeah. So you're not. So nothing for today.
Oh, you mean something to trade today if you had no position whatsoever?
Yeah, give me some.
Nothing.
God, you're no fun either. All right. Hey, Dale, you know what's going to be fun?
Yes.
You and I, we have a date today.
You have to send me the link.
No, we're gonna do it in person. I'm gonna drive over and see you, Dale.
Okay, that'd be great. We'll sit outside. It's gonna be
we will. But Dale and I are gonna sit down for a little one-on-one. You guys hear Dale talking all the time, and he's interviewing everybody else. But Dale's has some time in the markets, and so we're gonna talk about Dale, and I'm gonna interview Dale, and you guys are gonna get to know Dale on a whole different level today. You guys excited about that?
I think we should do a ForexAnalytix offsite at Dale's place, and you invite all of us, Blake.
There we go. That'll be great. All right, Dale, we're all heading over there, maybe over the weekend or something, right?
Okay, everyone's welcome.
Dale, it'll be a really good interview today. Do we have any data coming out right now? Because I didn't hear Stelios, so it's
Canadian data.
GDP.
Well, we had Canadian data. Holy cow!
Second quarter, we are nearly
at the wheel again. My goodness.
It's
What
still
happened,
sticking
Stel?
to the data.
Look at that line you have there, Blake.
All right, we got some data coming out.
Larry
Yeah, well, this is a
Tentarelli, are you
megaphone
here,
pattern,
buddy?
and we're actually above the megaphone pattern. So let me but let's see what the Canadian data is.
Oh, in
weak.
line. Oh, actually, no.
Annualized is a little bit
Yeah.
weak, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the month over month came in line, but the annualized quarter over quarter is weaker than expected. So and take a look at this dollar CAD. I mean, we are trying to race. We actually closed on a breakout above 130.80. You can see at 130.80 level here last week or yesterday, excuse me. We closed above that, but we have this megaphone pattern. We're just kind of brushing the highs. Yeah, it looks squeezy. It looks squeezy, kind of like the US dollar, Norwegian krona. Anyway, Dale, hey, I look forward to speaking with you a little bit later today. I know you have Larry Tantarelli with us today. Is that correct?
Yes, Larry stepped up.
What's that?
Larry stepped up. I had a
Awesome. Well,
cancellation last minute.
Larry's a good man. And I hope you have a great interview. For those of you that want some good direction on the equity markets, and I think that you guys should stick around and listen to Larry Tantarelli. But before you do that, make sure you check out the trader funding program. There's a lot. We actually a friend of ours, a longtime listener of the F.A.C.E show. I spent some time with him, talking to him on the phone, and he joined the trader funding program actually this week, which is pretty cool. He's, like I said, he's been listening to this program for years. So check out the trader funding program if you want to learn how to trade our money and not take any of the risk. You keep 75% of the returns. It's pretty awesome. Learn how to what do you have to do to take an assessment, and check it out. And there's a 2-minute video at the very bottom of the trader funding program page. Just watch that. You'll learn everything you need to know about it.
Testimonial by Brand. This community has everything you could hope for. Gave me hope.
Awesome, Brand. Well, Brand's been a great addition to the ForexAnalytix community. I know he's very active in the Forex Flow, the Flowonomics chat room with Ryan and Kman. So thank you, Brand. That's really nice words.
All right, team. Thank you very much, guys. I know it's hard to come up with things to talk about sometimes when, this month end stuff and cross currents and, we're not going to just try and come up with things. If we don't see things, we have to tell people, we're sitting on our hands waiting for the right opportunity. So thanks again, Dream Team. All right, Larry Tentarelli. Great
Dale,
to have
good morning.
you back. Thank you so much, Larry, for stepping up. You're, friend of the community when I could reach out to you last minute, and you're willing to make some time in your day to come and talk to us. Really appreciate it.
Dale, anytime. Thank you for having me. I'm always glad to be here.
Okay, well, Larry, last time we talked, I know you were bearish. We had that big bounce here, and if you want to share your screen, I'm very interested in what you're thinking here, and what you're short, and perhaps you have found some sectors that you still want to be long. But let's start with S&Ps.
Gotcha. Okay, see, you can see my chart, right?
Yeah, the big question was when it came off the 200-day. Is it a consolidation of the recent rally and a correction of that, or the resumption of the bear market? Where you come down?
Right. So here's where we're at. We're at a pretty key level. So 4,000 is really my line in the sand on the S&P. So 4,000 is about a 50% retracement. Sharp move from 36 to 4,300. It looked like, I've got to tell you, it looked like on Thursday, the markets had gotten to be pretty oversold based on the McClellan oscillators. And it looked like that close after Thursday, it looked like there could be some room to the upside, maybe to fill that gap. And then obviously
before Moses came down from the mountain.
Yeah, they put the hammer down pretty fast. So this was a very sharp, I really think that from 4,200, if it could have cleared 4,200, based on what Powell said, it could have had a move to the upside, but it didn't. He didn't say what the markets wanted to hear, or however you want to phrase it. So sharp drawdown. So here's where we are. Under 4,000 for me is a much weaker level. Now, I will say this, the internal oscillators, the S&P McClellan, the NDX McClellan are at extremely oversold levels where they often rally from. So I've got on watch right now 4,000 on the S&P, and then
Are
on
they
triple,
as extreme as they were in June, near the end of June?
the NDX oscillator is the most oversold it's been since March of 2020.
Wow.
So
Without new lows in the market yet.
yeah, so I'm trying to see if I've got, let's see if we can pull that up real quick, the NDX, and I don't want to take too much
What
time.
is this, McClellan's oscillator?
Yeah, the NDX McClellan oscillator, and it
Okay.
right now, okay, here we go. Let's see if we can find it. NASDAQ NDX. Okay, so if we take a look at where it is, we're going to change this to lines. So we'll make that a line. So where this is right now, negative 119.13. If you look at where it is on the chart right now,
Yeah, nice.
it's below the June levels. It's below
Wow.
negative 119 to find negative 119.13. You need to go all the way back to February and March of 2020. So here's what I found
COVID.
about, yeah,
All
what
the
I
way
found.
where COVID was.
Exactly right. What I
Wow.
found about these oscillators is at the extremes, and I'd consider, sub 100 or plus 100. At the extremes, they're generally pretty good at calling market turns within, anywhere from 0 to 2 to 3 days. So in June, the oscillator bottomed about 2 days. So the oscillator was negative 99. It bottomed about 2 or 3 days before the market did. And then obviously we know what's happened since then. So I don't use the oscillators as a standalone buy
Right.
signal, but you really have to pay attention when you see the most oversold since March of 2020. What I want to do here is just be on lookout if I see the signs of either a gap down and a reversal higher in triple Q, or just a gap up that holds and gets stronger through the day, then I at least want to be on the lookout for at least possibly a tactical trade. Could be a few weeks or longer. We'll see how it works out.
Okay, so that's interesting, and that's a pearl to anyone that follows McClellan oscillator.
Yeah, and like I said, at the extremes, now here's the thing: sentiment is very bearish right now. We all know, what Powell said, but we're on triple Q. We're at exactly a 50% retracement, 268 to 334. We're right at 33 points off the low, 33 points off the high. So 300 is a very, very key technical level. There is some weak shorter term momentum. We're below the 50-day. The 20-day has started to turn down. All of my shorter term indicators are still negative, but that's often when you get the reversals, when the chart looks the worst. So I'm just on watch this morning, primarily in triple Q, to see if we can hold 300. If we start to move higher, as I said, I think there could be a tactical trade. September can be a very difficult month, as we all know by now.
Yeah.
But I think in this market, you really have to take it a day at a time and watch how things unfold, because seasonality told us that April should be a great month, and April was a really bad month. So
Great
seasonality, seasonality is, we need to pay attention, but really nothing's more important than what's happening on the chart right now.
Okay. Any positions? So your narrative is you're leaning towards if you get a reason to get long, that's what you're looking to do.
Right now I'm 50% long and I'm 50% cash.
Okay. What are you long right now, Larry?
I'm long triple Q.
Okay.
I'm long Amazon, holding over the 50-day. I've got some energy exposure. I've got Chevron. So this is my next highest ranked sector. So the energy sector, tech and energy, is where I'm really focused on right now. And I think this pullback in XLE and these
Yeah.
energy stocks like Exxon, Devon Energy, I think this pullback has been due. They've
Yeah.
had about a 15-20% move off the lows. I think today you could get a 50% retracement. They're down about 2 or 3% pre-market. I do think that the pullback in the energy stocks is viable. I just don't know if it's viable today, 2 or 3 days. Once again, it's something that I want to pay attention to what the charts do. That the sector rotations here are super sharp.
You mean vicious rotation?
Vicious. And XLE has been trading. If you look at how these energy stocks have been trading most of the year, XLE and Triple Q have really been on 2 different pages. You know, for the most part, they've been moving in opposite directions. So if we get any strength in Triple Q, you could see more pullback in energy, maybe some more pullback in the commodity stocks. But I do think those pullbacks should be viable in energy and commodities. The problem right now is bond yields are a problem.
What do you
Bond yields over 3% is a problem.
All right, so I have a constructive view on TLT.
Okay.
I wanted to run that by you and see what you thought, because
Okay.
you know, I last week I thought it was impressive how it rallied after Paul.
Right.
And the long end, it's more of the long end of the play, not the 10-year or lower.
Yeah,
But to
sure.
me, it looks like it might be carving out a right shoulder here.
Very
And,
possible.
and if we get back above, you know, some of your moving averages, I was
Yep.
thinking 125 to 30.
Yeah, I
on-
think 120 breaks you out.
Okay. Yeah.
If you
All right.
can get there.
Okay. All right. So that would give you like a 135 possible target if that's the range, you know, or
Yes.
130, 130-ish, which was
Yeah.
a breakdown. You think that would, so the debate is, does that happen, which didn't happen before because of flight to quality with risk off, or can bonds rally and that might be the catalyst for another wave up in the market?
You know, it could be. I'll tell you what, this is probably the toughest market that I've been in since 2008. So I started in 98, you know, 2000 to 02 was tough. 2008 was tough. The reason this market, I think, has been so difficult and choppy is you've got really 2 different major, when you talk about the bond market and stocks, you're talking about inflation and recession at the same time. And those two things are on opposite ends of the spectrum. So, you know, in this period right here, the markets and the media is only talking about recession. And then things start to move higher. Then we start talking about inflation. It creates these sharp rotations. I do think TLT, it's technically, I agree with you. Exactly what you said about the possible shoulder. It's, you know, it's just going to be choppy, I think, with everything else. But for TLT to work, the bond yields, the 10 and the 30, really need to come down, and the market really starts to embrace that slowdown story that's out there. And just right now, the 10-year yield isn't saying that. But if this starts to break below 3, then I like that TLT better, because you could be in the same, you could argue for a shoulder, a head, and then a shoulder here if this starts to break down, and call maybe 270, 280 the neckline.
Okay.
Bond market's the bond market's a tough market right now, because the Fed funds futures, it just ticked up to 3.75 to 4% is what the futures market is pricing in for the end of the year. So I think they're pricing in another 75 and then 250s. But it's so much news driven that if the CPI comes out in a few weeks and it's, you know, it's lower, then maybe you get that breakdown in bond yields. So it's just a lot. But from a technical perspective, I think you're right.
Yeah, you know, I can't remember a market either, Larry, where you almost have to you can't feel comfortable that you're going to have a move for a 1 week
Yeah.
consistently.
Yeah, it's you're right. You're right,
So
because
it's turning everyone into a swing trader.
it's, you know, it's just there's a lot of volatility. I've had to keep a lot more cash because you get these moves. So with triple Q, it showed a lot of constructive trend signs over the 50-day, over the
Yeah.
100-day, you know, stopped at the 200-day, which makes sense. But then, you know, when it lost the 20-day, I really thought on Thursday, because that NDX oscillator that we looked at, it was negative 95 or negative 99. So I thought that we had the possibility, just like S&P, to move higher, because triple Q tested higher. But then, you know, once Powell spoke, they put the brakes on everything. And, you know, these 10% moves, if you look at it, triple Q went plus 10% in what, 3 weeks?
Yeah.
It's come down plus, you know, negative 10%, just a lot of volatility. But for me, if triple Q can figure out a way to stay over 300, then I want to be on the lookout for, you know, a tactical, maybe a swing trade to the upside. But if it starts to trade below 300, and if the S&P stays below 4,000, then I think we just have to be much more careful.
Okay, maybe we could wrap it with Apple, because Apple's 7% of the market, right, Larry?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, you know, we had that gap down last week, and then the rally into the gap that it didn't fill
Right.
on, you know, Paul's Day.
Yep.
And now we're approaching a lot of major, we actually just filled a gap that it left on the way up.
Yep.
And we're approaching, you know, this pretty important area, mid 150s.
Exactly.
If the market's going to hold, I think Apple's got to dig in its heels above 150.
Yeah, I think you're right. 155, you know, 150, 152, 155. If we look at this move, 128 to 176, we'll call that 50 points. What is it? 48. So 151, 153. You've got the rising 50-day at 155.
Yeah.
You know, I use the moving averages a lot, you know, so I think you're right. You know, 150, 155 in that range. Ideally, you know, the NASDAQ futures are higher right now, but you know how this market is. They could be higher now and down 1% later, or vice versa. But really 150, 155. But I'll tell you, there are some tech stocks when we talk about, you know, because I know we've got, you know, people that are looking at tech stocks. If you were taking a look at the snowflake chart,
yeah,
a lot of relative strength, big breakout after earnings, Palo Alto Networks. There's some good tech charts that's holding over all the moving averages. Global Foundries in semiconductors, ON Semiconductor. Here's what I think in tech. I'm trading tech right now with triple Q. I do think that there's some very solid tech charts that are out there. CrowdStrike was higher pre-market, but that's over the 200-day. So there's a lot of tech charts that I think are setting up better than like Microsoft and some of the, you know, NVIDIA, AMD. Those stocks could bounce if the market bounces, but I think that there's much better relative strength charts in technology. I like these fertilizer stocks. So I've got a position in Mosaic. We caught this entire move on the way up, coming over the 50-day. Big breakout, pulling back here. So we took some profits, but I think that Mosaic, you know, these commodity stocks, they could pull back some more if tech pulls back.
All right, while you're there, I know what you're gonna say, but I have a request for your view on precious metal stocks.
Okay, you want to go with GDX?
They're making new lows. I don't know what someone's expecting you to say, but
yeah,
what do you say?
So, well, for my time frame, here's the thing. For my time frame, it doesn't work. But for a longer term time frame at $24 and change, you've got a ton of longer term support between, let's call it 20 to 24. So I think if somebody is very patient, or if they're a reversion type trader or anything like that, then from $24, you might not have a lot of downside. You know, there's a lot of support that's in here. But once again, this, you know, this has been coming down quite a bit, and I couldn't tell you why. I'm sure, you know, you've got some followers that are really dialed in. But it
Yeah.
just seems that no matter what happens with stocks and bonds, gold stocks keep going down.
Yeah.
You know, if
Heavily
you look at
shorted.
that, but
Yeah.
from a long-term perspective at $24, you know, the reward, the potential reward to your risk is probably skewed to the upside, but you know, it's just a reversion trade. There's nothing technically that would tell me to buy that right now, but it doesn't
Yeah,
mean
not
it
till
can't
we
work.
get a turn in the dollar.
For
Is the way
me,
I view it.
you know, Dale, the way that I trade, I would at least want to see it get back over the 50-day.
Yeah.
So someone
Okay.
could say, well, you know, why would I buy it at 27 when I could buy it at 24? But using just the 50-day as a filter would have kept you out from 37.
Yeah.
So
You know-
the minimum thing I look for in these downtrends, just get me back over the 50-day, and then we can take a look at the chart.
Okay, you know, to me, it sounds the groups that you like the most are techs and oils. And
I like
have
oils longer term. I
Mhm.
like techs possibly, you know, tactical for the next few weeks.
Okay.
September can be a really tough month, so we'll see. But yeah, energy and commodities, I like the primary trend, and I think tech right now might be more of a tactical trade.
Okay, because a friend of mine I've known for 30 years has his own broker dealer. He always says to be careful in the market that the last stage of it, the only two groups that go are techs and oils. So it just made me think of him when you were talking about your views. So maybe you could give us one quick look at Qualcomm. Tulin
Sure.
wants to know what you think of Qualcomm, and then I'll let you go pull your hair out.
Yeah, yeah. Now right now, Qualcomm is weaker. It's below all the moving averages. Now, I think it's going to do what Triple Q does. So, you know, what are we looking at? Maybe 10 or 15% over the recent lows. It's not a bad chart. It's not my favorite chart. I really just think, Dale, that you're going to get out of Qualcomm basically what you get out of Triple Q. But I've got to tell you, I like this global foundries chart from a technical perspective. Yesterday,
Yeah,
everything got blown out. The stock was up 3.5%. It's over the 200-day moving average, 50 days starting to turn up. It's got a lot of support in here. It's had a couple high volume upside days. So what I'm looking for in this type of a market is relative strength. What's
Right.
not going down when everything else is going down?
Yeah, buy what's green when the board is red.
Yeah, because then I think if this stock doesn't go down when everything's down, you know, what happens to it if everything turns back up?
Larry, like I said in that tweet, you're a very disciplined tactician, and appreciate you sharing it. And I think that everyone should follow you that's a stock trader, everyone, the whole cosmos.
Can I give a plug for the website? 30 seconds.
Yeah, of course you could.
Okay,
that's where I was going anyway.
Yes, sir. Bluechipdaily.com is my website. We've got a 30-day free trial. There's no obligation whatsoever. And if you go to this page, it's the best ideas page. What you can do is you can just scroll down and you can look at some of the technical work that I've done and see some of these real-time posts. I put technical alerts on I've got a members only Twitter page. So I post technical alerts all day, every day. We post buy side ideas. F.A.C.E was up 32%. I post sell side ideas as far as locking in profit. So here's where I posted back in June. Exxon was right at the top. And I just put on, you know, a take profits alert. So I put technical alerts out every single day, very similar to what you and I have talked about. And there's a free trial, so there's really no risk.
And a reasonable price after the trial. And you know what? Speaking of best ideas,
Yes.
it was one of my better ideas to invite you to be interviewed on F.A.C.E.
Dale, thank you. You know what? You're a pro. When I talk to you and the questions that you ask me, I know that you're 100% dialed in, and I really appreciate that.
And thank you so much for today, Larry. And glad I can reach out in a pinch and have a pro like you come and edify the F.A.C.E community. Appreciate it, man.
Anytime, my friend. I'm just a tweet away or a email away.
This is Larry Tentarelli on Twitter at LMT978. And I didn't even write it down. I have it memorized, and really appreciate you today, Larry, and every time you're here. Good
Dale, thank you.
hunting. Good
You
hunting
too.
into, until we talk again.
You too, my friend.
All right. That's a wrap, everyone. You could join the team in 20 minutes on the Morning Edge. Remember, don't just count your pips or your coins or your shares. Count your blessings, everyone. You're welcome, everyone. Glad to add value. The whole team and I are glad to add value to your attempt at this very difficult endeavor. Adios. Thank you, Marco. You're welcome, Steve.